On October 18th, 2022, I decided to quit drinking, and to this date, I haven't touched alcohol at all. Now, before I get into my 5 reasons why I quit, a little bit of backstory on alcohol and its involvement in my life. Now, I grew up around alcohol, not alcoholics per se, but there was always beer and stuff like that being consumed around me as a kid. And so when I became a teenager, of course, my friends and I would get access to alcohol and we would drink, and sometimes to the point of getting drunk. And well into my early 20s, that was just what the group of friends that I had did. We would go and drink on a weekend or a Friday night or whatever it was, and sometimes even during the week. But it wasn't until my early 20s when I started my business that I realized I needed to cut back a bit. I couldn't drink like my friends did because I needed to be there for my business. I needed to be available for my customers, and I needed to be able to wake up in the morning and get to work. So I cut back a little bit then. And there have been times between my 20s all the way up until earlier last year where I would stop drinking for a small period of time, but I always ended up starting to drink again, and not in excess. I haven't been drunk in decades, but I have gotten close a couple of times, and when that would happen, I'd get frustrated at myself and I'd cut back. It wasn't intentional that I would get, tipsy or something like that. It just happens because it's easy as you're in a social environment to just have a couple of drinks and maybe a couple more, and before you know it, you're just a little bit tipsy, and that's usually where I would cut it off for myself. But I'm not what some would consider an alcoholic. I definitely don't drink enough to be considered that. I don't drink because I have to. I drink simply because I wanted to. So the 5 reasons that I decided to quit really have more to do with what I was getting out of my life than it was alcohol itself. Alcohol was not necessarily ruining my life. It was not ruining my health or anything like that, but I saw the progression if I kept going down that road where things would lead, and I definitely wasn't getting out of my life what I wanted to. So I decided to quit. The number 1 reason is I realized that it had become a habit. Almost nightly, I would have something, maybe a glass of wine, which is not uncommon these days. A lot of people have a glass of wine every night, or perhaps a little bit of whiskey or something like that. Just something small to take the edge off is what most people would say, or to calm themselves or relax themselves for the evening. And that was kind of what I fell into. My wife and I were both doing that. And I realized that I didn't want that to be a habit. I didn't like the fact that that was something that I was doing every day. I recognized that there were other habits that I wanted in my life that I was not doing every single day, yet this one somehow managed to become at least something that was happening 5 nights a week, and I definitely wanted a change there. The second thing that was a big eye-opener is I realized it really was affecting my sleep. A lot of people say, oh, I'll have a drink before bed or something like that, or in the evening to take the edge off, to calm down or relax. It was not relaxing for me. When I quit drinking, within a couple of days, my sleep improved greatly, and it just reinforced my decision to stop drinking and why that needed to happen. Drinking, nightly or on an evening was definitely not benefiting me, and it being that habit and that habit affecting my sleep definitely was not conducive to what I was trying to achieve for myself. The third thing, it was keeping me from getting up early and working out and having a great start to my day. Like most people, I think especially men, need their day to start off well because it sets the pace for their entire day. I think that's for all of us, but our day needs to start off well. And that means starting the night before, like how we position ourselves going into the evening, and the sleep that we're getting is going to affect how our day is going to be the next day. And if I'm ending my day with a drink of some sort, maybe even end up snacking a little bit, which would happen sometimes, having that before bed, stuff that needs to digest, and then I'm going to sleep and not getting the best sleep because my body's working on processing, that small drink of alcohol that I had and whatever little snack that I might have had before bed, instead of helping me get good, deep sleep. And then when I would try to wake up in the morning to go to the gym or to go work out at home, or even spend spend a little bit of time reading or whatnot in the morning, I could not get myself out of bed. I was groggy. My body wanted nothing to do with it. And so I realized that the alcohol was not conducive to me getting a good night's sleep, and it was affecting me overall. Now, another thing that I had noticed is that as the evening would wind down and I was, maybe finishing dinner, I would think, okay, let's make a drink. Let's grab something to drink. And that might happen sometimes before we even put our kids to bed. And I didn't like showing that as part of my evening routine. I didn't want to project that to my children, as that was something that I was doing every night. And so it was often that we would have our drink after we put the kids to bed. But sometimes there was a tug at me that I wanted to have that now. And sometimes I would have that before my kids would go to bed. I realized that's also not part of what I want my personality to be. It's not what I want to be putting out there to my kids. It's not healthy in so many different ways. While there were studies in the past that showed that a glass of wine might be good for heart health or whatever, all of those things have been debunked. I've seen so many studies that have come out that have said, yeah, no, that's not good anymore. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your stomach. I mean, there's so many other aspects of your body that alcohol just is not good for. Alcohol is a toxin. And while we try to find studies and different things that say, oh, well, alcohol can do this or it can do that, overall, it's just not healthy. And I don't want to be ingesting something every single night or close to every single night that is unhealthy. And the more that I've been reading into and learning about the brain, the more I'm learning about how alcohol affects it. Many of the issues and things that I have had, like occasional cloudiness, like I feel like I'm still pretty sharp and still have it together. But in some aspects, like being able to put a thought together, I'm getting older, I'm in my mid 40s just about, and all of those things come with age as well. I don't want to hinder my health because I have to have a drink every single night. And so that's another aspect that I'm looking at. I need to get that out of my life because it's not benefiting me. It's not taking me further down the road in a healthy way, which is the way that I want to be progressing. So it's not healthy. Despite what the studies say, we can make ourselves feel better by finding some piece of information that says for this specific little thing, it actually is a benefit. But overall, for the health of your body, alcohol is not healthy. And I have to look at things holistically, not just look for the little piece of information that might back up my decisions. I need to look at everything and say, is this healthy for me physically? Is it healthy for me mentally? And is it helping me achieve my goals? And I could not find one reason why alcohol was benefiting me in any of those areas. Number 5 is it's not the person that I wanted to be, which I've kind of talked a little bit about throughout this entire video so far. I don't want to be the person who drink every single night. I don't look down on people that do. I very much like you do what you want to do and take care of yourself the way you want to be taken care of. But for me, myself, I don't want to be that person who's having a drink every single night. These things, we kind of romanticize the idea of consuming alcohol as being sophisticated or something like that. I joined a whiskey club at some point so that I could try like all these different whiskeys. Those things are great. There's really nothing wrong with those things. Like for a person who might have like a glass of whiskey once a week and enjoy the different intricacies that are part of that alcohol, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But for me personally, I came to realize that like I'm not the kind of person who can just dabble a little bit here and there. I will end up going to the store and restocking our top shelf where we put our liquor, and I will have a little bit of a draw towards wanting that. And maybe that's early signs of alcoholism, like the desire to have it, even though I know that I don't need it. But that's something that I need to protect and take care of personally, because I realized there was that draw, and that if that draw goes like unmanaged, then that's when things become a real problem. So while I don't believe I've ever been an alcoholic, I'm paying attention to what I feel internally and what my mind is telling me. Those are the 5 reasons why I decided to stop drinking alcohol. And I would encourage you to look at why you do things, not just with alcohol, but things in general. Why are you doing a certain thing, and is it serving you? That has been the biggest question that I've been asking myself over these last couple of years. Is what I'm doing serving me? And if it's not, then I need to make a change. If that change is uncomfortable, it needs to happen. And stopping drinking, it affects relationships and friendships. I feel like there's a couple of couples that have avoided going out to dinner with us because they don't want to be the only ones drinking. And I think it makes people feel weird when you actively take a stand not to drink, it tugs at them a little bit, because I think innately most of us realize when we're doing something that we probably don't want to be doing, but we're doing it anyways. I can't stop believing that alcohol is anything other than this generation's cigarettes. You know, everybody used to smoke cigarettes and everybody did it, and you were really weird if you didn't smoke cigarettes back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s. And now very rarely do you see people smoking cigarettes. And I really feel like alcohol is going to be that next thing, or at least I hope so, because it's not healthy. It's not helping us, if anything, hindering us and hurting our health. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Obviously, this is not a personal attack on anybody or anybody's beliefs. It really is just what I feel for myself and a little bit of my opinion. I hope that we can keep it nice and cordial down in the comment section. But if you have thoughts, I'd love to hear them down there. I appreciate you watching this video all the way through. Make sure to click the thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when I put out another video. But I hope to see you back in another one soon. Have a great day.